some entities might only differ in the structure of the architecture or the signal bit width. How can we avoid duplicating code? Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. VHDL allows to define several architectures for a single entity. Thereby, the ports of the entity stay the same, but the implementation of the logic might be different. As an example, think about an adder. There are different ways to implement it, such as a carry lookahead adder or a ripple carry adder. But the ports are the same for both. So how can we define in our top-level module which one to use? Let's have a look at a simple example. As you can see, I already defined an adder entity consisting of two architectures, full adder and half adder. They share the same ports, however, for the half adder, the carry-in signal is not used. Additionally, I already added the entity description of the top module. Now, let's start instantiating an adder in the architecture of the top module. We have to give the instance a name, and then we have to link this to an entity. Hence, we have to use the keyword entity and then reference the adder. Since it is part of our working directory, we can write it like this: work.adder. Finally, we have to define the architecture by using parentheses and specifying the name of the architecture inside them. Now the entity is set and we just have to map the ports to some signals. Often, architectures might only differ in the bit width of some signals. As an example, we could implement an 8-bit ripple carry adder or a 16-bit ripple carry adder. In this case, the input signals would be a vector instead of a single bit. For this reason, VHDL provides generics to parameterize entities. Generics are defined in the same way as ports. However, in contrast to ports, they do not have a mode or direction. Generics are declared before the ports, and usually only generics of type integer or bool are supported. Let's have a look at an example. First, we will have a look at the declaration in the entity. After giving the entity a name, we directly declare the generics. In this case, let's just name it n and make it an integer. Similar to the ports, we have to finish the declaration after the parentheses using a semicolon. In the following port declaration, we can already make use of this generic. As an example, I will quickly define an input port. The vector shall be of parameterizable size, so we can use n in the vector definition. That's it already. The same way we use generics in the entity description, we can also use them inside the architecture definition to set the bit width of a signal as shown in this example. Finally, we have to define the parameter value in our top module. So let's go back to our previous example using the adders. In case we added a generic to these modules, we now just have to add a generic map to the instantiation and define the value of the generic in a similar way as the ports. In summary, there are different ways of avoiding code duplication in VHDL. We can implement various architectures for a single entity or use generics to define, for example, the bit width of some ports. Consequently, using these VHDL constructs will save you much time and increase the readability of your code.